have the chaplains come up and join me as I open us up with prayer today. So please center in. Sweet Spirit, we center ourselves in the divine, and we begin with sending love to all of our Jewish friends throughout the world. We know that some of them are hurting today, and we just want them to know that we're here and that we are an expression of love at all times with all people. We know that as we enter this service, we are talking about vibration and how we can enhance our own vibration and bring it forward into the world. This is a perfect opportunity for us to do this, and we request assistance in helping to raise that vibration so high that we are a light for the world. For this, we are so grateful. Amen. Amen. Our chaplains are available after the service right up front. They practice affirmative prayer. So if you've never experienced that, I hope that you will certainly take an opportunity to come up front and do that. As we begin our service, we often like to review our intentions. You know, we come together as a group, and we've created intentions so that we can all focus on the same thing. So as we repeat these words today, again, I'm talking about vibration. I want you to see if these words are resonating within your body. You may even choose to put your hand over your heart as we repeat. Let's start with Unity's founding principle together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good. And now let's do the Unity of Lawrence vision statement. United in divine love and joy, we celebrate a peaceful and abundant world for all. And our mission, we are a thriving spiritual community, sharing love, building bridges, and inspiring transformation. You know, to help set the tone for today's service, I've asked Patrick to walk around a bit with the didgeridoo. And so just kind of center in again and listen to the sounds of this Australian instrument. Thank you. Did you feel that? Yeah. The sound really helps me center in, and it vibrates through my entire body, which is what we'll be talking about today. A few years ago, I was surfing the web, and I found this video that really made me kind of laugh and smile. And so I wanted to show it to you very quickly. Again, pay attention, because it's only 15 seconds. You get the audio? Do you have the audio, you guys? Okay. Well, so did you get what it was? It was a baby clapping in utero. Okay, so one more time I'm going to have you play it again. And you know what the parents did? I'm sorry, the audio wasn't here. Go ahead and play it again, you all. The parents were singing, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So can you guys sing with me? If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really ought to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Okay, so thanks for helping us get started with that. I thought it was a very creative way to bring out a birth announcement. And how wise for this baby to know at this time that how important that vibration and that sound is. So I had mentioned here before that I walked into Unity Church in my mid-20s, and during that time, I was an avid reader, and I was definitely focused on raising my own vibration, and that's something that I quickly got from the Unity literature. This book from Charles Fillmore called Christian Healing was very powerful for me, and I wanted to share just a bit from it. He says, the perfect idea of God, man or woman, is your true self. God mind, under the law of thought, constantly seeking to release its perfection in you. It is your spirit, and when you ask for its guidance and place yourself by prayer and affirmation in mental touch with it, there is a great increase in its manifestation in your life. It has back of it all the powers of being, and there is nothing that it cannot do if you give it full sway and make your thoughts strong enough to express the great forces that it is seeking to express in you. Now, as a young woman, this was incredibly powerful for me. It was a new idea that I could harness the vibration of my own thought, and I could bring it forward within my own body, and then I could bring it forward within the world. Very quickly I discovered in Unity about the 12 powers. I'm sure many of you were familiar with them. Life, love, will, understanding. There's 12 of them. And I learned quickly that if I could harness these powers within myself and bring them forward and focus on changing myself, again, changing myself, which is our focus a lot of times in Unity, that I could grow and be of great assistance and perhaps a light in the world. This is something that I hope that you will learn in Unity if you haven't already, and I hope it's something that you will continue to share with others. I also noticed during this time, I clearly got the message that somehow through the use of these powers, Christ, the Christ within me, was unfolding within me through these development of the powers. And I love this quote by Myrtle Fillmore. It says, true prosperity is the unfolding of God within. Again, I'll repeat that. True prosperity is the unfolding of God within. Now, I didn't hear anything about prosperity being money or anything like that in that quote. Now, Myrtle would also tell us that that will come later, but her focus was really on looking within. So how exactly does one unfold God? That's kind of a strange question, isn't it? I've been contemplating that. And so I didn't really completely understand what that meant until I read this book in ministerial school. It's called The Ego and the Dynamic Ground by Michael Washburn. Now, the funny thing is I don't necessarily recommend you reading it. I'm going to give you a little few-minute synopsis of what it is. It's a 250-page book, and it's really deep, and it's a lot more fun to share the information that I'm going to share with you now. I want to create like a metaphor for what it is like in our own life. The dynamic ground is actually another word for God. So I have my origami paper here. I want you to imagine that this is us at birth, and that within us is both the ego and the dynamic ground, and I'm kind of separating them to make a point, but they're all together. And as we begin to grow, we're born and we need to grow our ego. So that's what takes hold at first. And so we begin to grow. The ego takes hold and we grow mentally, we grow physically. Hopefully we also grow emotionally and spiritually at the same time. So we're beginning to take form, and that happens in an ego realm. And then around, I would say an important part of human development is around age 12 years old, just to realize, have you ever felt like you were a piece of artwork in half form? Well, that's kind of what this is. We're on our way to making an origami bird. And at 12, that's the time in our life where we actually have the mental functioning of an adult. We can actually reason. So that's an important part of development. And then as we continue to grow, eventually we get to the space where we're like this beautiful origami bird. In our country, we're an adult at age 18. However, I will let you know that our brain continues to develop. Many people think all the way up to age 23. So, and then keep in mind also the point I want to make is that really it's the ego that takes the lead at the beginning. And a lot of times in spiritual circles, we kind of poo-poo the ego, like it's a bad thing. But I want to let you know that we need to build a healthy ego to be a healthy person. Okay, so let's let that negative stuff about the ego go. And then at some point in life, okay, so let's even say that I would like to think that most people, children in particular, get all of their needs met in their life. But you and I know that that doesn't always happen. And so we may need to do some healing work along the way. That may include, let's call this bird Sarah. And let's say that Sarah didn't get all her needs met. And so she ended up doing 12-step work. And maybe she did some therapy. And then maybe she even found out about the 12 powers and started playing with them and developing them. So she continued to grow, and at some point in her life, she actually has an opportunity to become fully self-actualized. That's like the highest realm, and we like to hear about that in Unity too. He's like, look at Sarah, she's a beautiful bird, she's flying, look at her light, isn't she great? And that is fabulous, and I don't want to poo-poo that either. But keep in mind, there's still two spaces here. This is the ego, and this is the dynamic ground, which is more than likely down here. So who's running the show in this person's life? It would be the ego. And the ego, to tell the difference, quite often, the ego always wants something, It wants money, or it wants a relationship, or it wants to be right, something like that. And it's really the dynamic ground spirit that wants to give, wants to love. So that's a good way to tell the difference. But, Sarah here is not done with her journey. There's still part of her journey to go, and that's the wonderful relationship with this dynamic ground that still exists. At some point in life, there's an opportunity. She chose to maybe meditate. And so with that meditation practice, this dynamic ground comes up to meet her in the space that she is in her life. And that oftentimes in Unity, we see people kind of going back and forth in their own development between, the ego's in the lead, the dynamic ground's in the lead, the ego, then spirit, ego, spirit. We go back and forth. And it's kind of confusing a bit until finally, there's a choice that happens within the psyche to actually fly over here, let the dynamic ground take charge, and then the ego surrenders. And the ego comes down underneath and supports the journey as we continue in life. And the people that have really done this work that we recognize are the avatars in life, like Mother Teresa, people like Martin Luther King, our great spiritual leaders. They're always leading from a place of having the dynamic ground in charge. So I hope you appreciate that story. You don't have to read the 250-page book, okay? If that's helpful. So I did look up the word unfold in the dictionary as I was developing this talk, and it says to open and spread out, to reveal, to develop, or expand. I think that we have to do that in our journey with spirit. And as we continue to evolve, we live and work from a higher consciousness that puts our own dynamic ground in charge of our lives. Can you feel that dynamic ground within you? A question, a few of you are shaking your head, yes. And in spiritual circles, we often hear about meditation. Charles and Myrtle talked about it all the time. There's studies that are now showing if we meditate, this process that I was talking about happens faster. So you can increase your connection with spirit just by having a meditation practice each day. And then there's also this powerful thing that happens with vibration in our body that's connected with this as well. That includes opportunities of using music and sound and vibration to heal ourselves. You know, sometimes our emotions kind of get blocked in our body, and that can block our process of bringing the dynamic ground forward. Many of you know that I teach shamanic breath work, and one of these days we'll get started with that here. It's something that I truly love. It's an energy clearing practice. Basically, I have found that it helps me move any stuck emotions out of my body and clears me up so that I'm open to receive. Listen to what one Sufi master, Hazrat Inayat Khan, said about music. He said, what makes us feel drawn to music is that our whole body is music. Our mind and body, the nature in which we live, the nature which has made us, all that is beneath and around us, it is all music. So we need this to heal our soul, to strengthen that ego if that's the work that we need to do, or even to surrender to spirit. And perhaps we're doing that all simultaneously. So the journey is not always quite as easy as this making this origami bird looks. So that's why I like to play with sound and vibration. I like to admit what's going on, and I like to have fun with it. So Charles Fillmore certainly understood this relationship between music and sound vibration and his body, the mind-body connection, years before anybody else. Again, he was a pioneer in everything that he was doing. He said, in time, probably, there will be schools of healing based on music where patients will be taught how to center themselves in the harmonious Christ mind. The more we think about the great pulsating universal life, the more we shall express it. We may apply music in every department of our life. The body is not only a musical instrument, it's also the composition. You are constantly composing as well as playing. So I'd like to invite Patrick Andries up onto the stage. And in just a minute, we're going to get started with our singing bowl meditation. This is an extended time of service, about 15 or 20 minutes of listening to the singing bowls. And my hope for you is that this really will be an experience of the 12 powers. So as you walked in today, you should have received a piece of origami paper, one paper right now. And pay attention to the color it is. What color are you attracting? If you don't have paper, please raise your hand, and somebody will bring you paper and pencil and card. They're doing that right now. You should have one card with you. These purple cards are an affirmation card, and also a little pencil. So we're also going to have an opportunity to do some journaling. So keep your hand up high. There's people coming around, and we have plenty of time. So as we begin the meditation, what is your soul calling you to be? That's what you'll may be reading on your card. Is it time for you to build a healthy ego, or is it time for you to surrender to the dynamic ground? So you can take these questions with you into meditation. I request that you go ahead and open your body. When we meditate, we really do like to be open and receptive. Pull your shoulders back. Bring your spine up straight in your chair. Put your feet flat on the floor. You can even take your shoes off here if you want. That'd be okay. And we're connecting. Sweet Spirit, help us be open and receptive. We are opening all areas of our body that may have been blocked. Help us to recognize those areas that may need attention. Help us to recognize those areas that are joy-filled and full of vibration, that are ready to explode to bring that out into the world. Beginning at the base of our spine and moving up, we begin with life, represented by the color red. I claim my power of life in my reproductive organs. I bring energy and vitality to my thoughts and actions. Elimination, represented by the color russet. I claim my power of elimination and my organs of elimination. I have an ability to release and let go of any thought, feeling, or situation that does not serve me. Strength, represented by the color spring green. I claim my power of strength in my lower back. I have an ability to stay the course and see the good in spite of any other outward appearance. Order, represented by the color olive green. I claim my power of order at my navel. I organize and balance my life according to divine ideas. My gift of order brings supply for my every need. Judgment, represented by the color yellow. I claim my power of judgment in the solar plexus, the pit of my stomach. I have an ability to know how to use what I spiritually understand. I am discerning and wise. Love, represented by the color pink. I claim my power of love in my heart. I have an ability to attract, harmonize, and unify my life from divine ideas. Power, represented by the color purple. I claim my power of power from the root of my tongue, the larynx. I have an ability to master, dominate, and control my emotions, inspirations, and thoughts. It is through my spoken word that power manifests in my life. Zeal, represented by the color orange. I claim my power of zeal from the medulla, the base of the brain at the back of the neck. I am passionate and enthusiastic about divine ideas. Imagination, represented by the color light blue. I claim my power of imagination from my brow, between the two eyes. I have an ability to visualize and dream. I give form and shape to divine ideas and substance. understanding, represented by the color gold. I claim my power of understanding from my right front brain. I have an ability to know and recognize truth. Will, represented by the color silver. I claim my power of will from my left front brain. I have an ability to choose, decide, and lead based on divine ideas.